Bethany TV, for health.
Good evening, viewers. Good evening, viewers. Sorry, we started with the Muchiga Keith here, making us laugh. Good evening. My name is Salongo Chula Philemon. I welcome you. It's yet another exciting Monday with the code. Thank you so much for tuning in. We have a very exciting topic today. One, we want to console with those ones who have had a bad week. We send our heartfelt condolences to those ones who have lost their loved ones. Of course, we also relate with those ones whose partners have divorced them, separated. Yeah, we can relate. We know the things. They are there. And also, we join in celebration with those ones who have quite a number of things to celebrate. Those ones celebrating anniversaries, weddings, those ones who have given birth to bundles of joy. To my sister-in-law at Bethany, we celebrate with you. We celebrate with that band of joy. And together, at the Code, all of us at the Code here, we celebrate you. Please keep enjoying. And all other people that are celebrating a lot of things, we still celebrate with you. Most importantly, we celebrate with our Manu fans. Hey. Manu fans, congratulations. Yesterday, we made it. We made some people walk alone back to their homes, and that was quite extraordinary. Absolutely. Yes, it's yet another exciting evening with the Code Jammers. As usual, Dr. Keith today is here, and Mr. Livingstone, the biggest marketeer in the city. Healthcare. How are you?
I'm well.
How was your weekend?
It was lovely.
How's it been the last 7 days?
Amazing.
Say hi to our viewers.
Good evening, viewers. It is good to be back on the Code to enjoy the madness of my two brothers here.
Amina.
Yes, thank you for tuning in again, the Code. I love the fact that our network is growing. The community is picking up. We encourage you to join, please, and be part of what is happening in the community out there. Okay. So enjoy the show. Yep.
Thank you, Livingstone. Thank you, Livingstone. Dr. Keith.
Good evening, our viewers. You are welcome to the Code as always. And we're looking forward to having a good discussion with you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, viewers. And those ones who are just tuning in, it's the Code every Monday, 8 to 9. And we have a repeat every Sunday, 7 p.m. Kindly tune in, enjoy the various topics that we have for you. They're quite interesting and very educative. They're giving a perspective of who a man is and a man's perspective on so many issues. So today, as usual, we are starting with that act of we preach, we do what we preach. Is that right? Yes. So,
practice what we
Dr.
preach.
Keith, that one act of self-care that you've practiced in the last 7 days since when you left this place.
Of self-care.
Self-care.
Yes.
Yes.
That's a good one.
Self-care.
Self-care. So, on I think it was Thursday evening, I took a very interesting long walk. There is a certain hill near home that I've always been eyeing. It's my nemesis.
Wow.
So usually when I do my walks, I look for the flat areas, and you go longer that way.
All right, that's true.
Yeah, you go longer and you feel like, but my wife has always said, that thing, we need to do it.
Wow.
Hey, Chief. By the time we reached the top, the back was singing, the knees were whistling, the whole body part was, but I was so excited. I almost lost my breath along the way. I think every body part was breathing. And at some point, she looked back at me and was like, do we need an ambulance? Because I was a mess. The normal compost guy, I was like, hey.
But I was
yes, but I was so excited because I achieved something.
Did you go all the way to the peak?
Up to the top.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow.
And I think I'll do that thing again maybe 2 years from now. For now.
2 years
for now, I told her that, boss,
Yes.
Check, yeah.
Yes, thank you.
Make
Thank you,
it
Keith.
that
You know, this encourages our men out there. You know, something we've
Yes.
been we've not paid much attention to is giving ourselves time and self-care, and women do the things. And remember, women also they have a certain support system. They do the things. They talk to fellow women about us, how to go about their marriages, and men don't do these things.
Yeah.
So out there to any man, if I ask these questions, the basically out to you there, one particular thing that you think you've done to basically rejuvenate yourself for the next hustles. Yes.
Even those in the community should be sending messages now.
To tell us what they have
sending
done.
those messages. Our WhatsApp number, our producer will have our WhatsApp number flashed on there.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes,
One
sir.
act.
One act
Self-care.
Self-care. One of the things that I did this week, self-care, was to like have a thorough rejuvenation of my body. If you realize I've shedded off a bit of weight, yes, I had to go and sprint. Nasazimu.
But I've also been seeing some of your posts on Twitter. There's some stuff you've been doing.
Yeah, exactly.
Some very good healthy stuff. I've been seeing some of the things.
What is
so,
that? Diety or?
There is diet and working out.
And working out,
yes.
yeah.
But
I
also,
follow his Twitter a lot.
Yes.
What type of workout? Gym, like his raw or?
You could jump around.
But they should share your Twitter handle because there are good
diet.
tips there.
Actually, we need to be putting it up here. Yes. So that is what I've been doing, just to make sure I am healthy, and I feel very light, very small. My shirts are almost falling over.
I even saw how you walked up and down today at work. You were marking those boxes with no sweat. In the heat. The guy was like, toop, 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 toop. I was like,
All the way. And
that
actually what I do at
Kuya.
work, for me, I don't use lifts.
That's true.
No,
I've
no, no. I
noticed,
just use the stairway. I
You
never
stopped
use
using
the
lifts.
No, I don't use lifts unless I'm rushing for meeting and I'm busy all over the place.
Both sides.
Both.
Wow.
I am always on the stairway. So it's very, very
But again, you
important.
don't lose too much.
So I lost too much.
You know, there is that Bible verse that talks about saving every penny. And then you end up struggling. And then you go to hospital and then use the same money that you saved to treat yourself. Something
No,
like that.
this is ideally health.
Health,
So,
okay.
Good.
yeah.
And yourself?
Basically, I think
Sarongo.
You
it
usually
was...
skip.
I've heard about, I think the last time I played football, I was playing with Livingston.
At
He's
the other field, eh?
He's
Yeah,
a
just here
terrible
in
bowler.
Butavik.
Both legs are pointing in the same direction.
Who? Stone, eh?
Wow.
Yeah.
We
So
have to ask
it
the
was-
Natashas for information because they go for that
I am
much.
a very
Anyway, he's a
big-
great one.
Yeah.
So after that time, I had
Yes.
not gone back to that same place. So I went back 3 days ago. Oh my.
You went there.
Oh my. I went there. I played 2 halves.
Wow.
Oh, you did?
Oh,
You completed the hours, nice.
That and the halves are like
90
60
minutes.
60 minutes or even 90 minutes. So 90
Yeah,
times 2.
it's a serious thing.
My dear, I couldn't
Very
even
serious.
drive back home.
Yeah.
I first had to park somewhere, have a very cold soda, rest a bit, stretch a bit, then I would get some
That's
energy
what you're
go-
able to go,
yeah,
yeah.
to drive
Should
back.
have
That's
taken
nice.
water.
And I needed glucose, my dear. I had lost a
That's
lot.
amazing.
lot.
That's good stuff.
Yes, yes. So lastly, it's also important to do a bit of what we preach out there. So we'd also love to know from you, Dr. Keith, that one particular thing that you've done as an act of compassion to society. It could be a service to society that you're basically not expecting a payout of it. Or it can get back, we narrow it down to your family, that it could be an act of love, an act of growth, empowerment to your wife, love to your children, intentional child upbringing, in the last 7 days.
No, well, mine is unfortunately still related to almost the profession. But there's a certain guy I recently saw, some dude out of the blue, and I noticed his eye was very red. And, and I'm like, when you're just moving around, I'm like, what's up? Random, your eyes.
Piqued
and
interest.
I picked
And with
interest.
this outbreak that we
This
had
outbreak,
recently.
and I noticed that he worked somewhere, and I think something dropped in his eye. And he'd been all over the place around getting all sorts of eye drops that were making it worse. So I sat down with him, we had a chat, explained to him what I thought, told him where to go and what we can do and how we can support him. And yesterday, I bump into the guy and he tells me that, Gwe, the eye is now seeing. And
Properly.
it had cleared, yes. And he explained there was a wound, the exact things I had told him. Something had dropped as he was doing some work.
Okay.
Some structure was at a site. I think something dropped into his eye and it cut and put a small wound on. That because the eye has a cavera on
That's
it, that
true.
thing. So it got nicked. And I've seen people lose eyesight over such things. So he
Right.
went to nearby places and they were giving him wrong medication. So I told him, no, do this, go to these places, go to here and here, and went through that. And I was so excited when I saw the guy.
That he recovered
You
well.
know, just randomly moving around the neighborhood, because I usually do walks and you bump into these guys and you're like, eh? So that piqued my interest that I should now start acting on some of my intuitions, because there are times you bump into people and in your heart you know this person is struggling with something.
That's true.
But you know, you're like, why? Kamanyiro. You know, so now I told
You go
myself
slow.
this.
And yet,
Yeah.
and yet you could be helping.
You could be helping.
Someone
Yeah,
could be
just
going through a very hard time
yes.
and
Yeah,
tried
just
so
use
much.
sharing a few words, not just the
Yeah.
community, but in our homes, at church, in our etc.
Exactly.
So-
And being a
that's
doctor,
why
you
we
could
are
definitely
here.
do such a
Yes.
thing.
Absolutely.
But even when you're not a doctor,
Yeah.
you're expected to do something.
to do something.
Yeah, to do
Yes,
something.
something. It may not even be material. It can be just a mere service. I mean,
Right.
even talking
Very
to someone.
important.
Yes, as men, I think we should now shape the new generation of men.
We need to pick interest
Surely.
in the community.
Livingstone, that one particular thing that is an act of compassion, a service to society.
Well, a service to society. Wow, a couple of things, but I think let me dwell on the time
half
I
a
spent
minute.
this week
In
with
half a minute.
my kids. They
Lovely.
were playing, yes. I actually shared that on my status. Yes, so I spend a lot of time being childish as well with them. And I think they enjoyed it.
I think everyone should do that.
Asked my wife how she felt about it. She told me, do you know what? That is not something I saw when I was growing up. So I
That's amazing.
desired to see it. So I literally became silly, became a child, jumped on the sofas, fall all
enjoyed.
over the place with them.
That's very nice.
That was good.
Yes, so they loved the moment. It
All
was
right,
quite
thank
amazing.
You, thank you so much. Viewers, today, did I say mine?
No, we're waiting.
We need to know.
I think I've.
Did you clean the twins?
Did I?
Did you clean the twins?
Now, Livingstone, some of us, you know, I have more experience than you. So, we're doing these things for the very first time. We've been doing these things. We do them.
For a while, eh?
Yes,
Yeah.
but also most importantly,
Yes.
I may not remember one particular one, but at least with my children, I'm always there. We're always doing a few things here and there. Be it doing laundry, I'll call my daughter to be next to me. Nga yumunguluza, or when we're washing dishes, she's next to me, cleaning, wiping, and yeah, I find that to be intentional.
That's absolutely,
yeah, intentional child
That's
upbringing.
amazing.
Yes,
Intentional.
Intentional is the
when
word. yeah.
when we're peeling matoke, she has to do that. Try cutting herself, trying to mix herself with masanda,
Wow.
and I find that to be very intentional. By the way,
Very,
maybe
very.
something I've just remembered. There's something I started for my wife, and I'm calling it beauty allowance.
Beauty allowance.
You should have said those things during the breaks when the cameras are not on.
Because
So I am now giving beauty allowance.
beauty allowance.
That's amazing.
In how long? Is it a week, a monthly
It
stipend
can
that
be
you
daily,
give?
it can be weekly, it can be monthly.
Yeah.
Yes, and it should be out. It should be out of appreciating something.
Nagenda twononera bakabana. Okay.
That carpet, yeah? They are going to keep rewinding that carpet.
They're going to keep on
my
going
viewers,
back to the
first
same.
Men out there, I started something. It's a new, my Nalo is home taking care of the little ones. So I thought of something. I started beauty allowance and labor allowance. But beauty allowance is to basically make sure she is not forgetting about herself when she's home. Simply because she's home, she does not forget that she has to have her hair neat, her nails
done, the usual.
I like that.
So-
I think what this man wants is prior preparation.
More twins.
Prior preparation.
Just take out the katungulu
to
smell
find,
from the bedroom.
to find her ready.
Otherwise, you just brace for something you don't know.
So what you've done, you've prepared the ground.
Exactly.
When you go back,
It's already said.
it is said.
Over which ground? Yes,
For the
thank you,
planting
viewers.
season.
Today we are doing success in a man. We have different definitions of success in a man.
like it.
Sometimes it is we're carried by traditional definitions. We are carried by modern definitions. We are carried by definitions that are shaped by basically parameters that don't make sense. At the end of the day, maybe they could be making sense to you.
Yeah.
A woman out there, you could be having different parameters to define success in your husband. Today, as men, we're giving you our perspective as men. Since we are the men here, and since we are discussing
Yeah.
success in a man, so allow us discuss who a successful man is and what parameters define who a successful person is. Whether it is peculiar to your husband or not, we are here to break a few norms, a few things you think are right and yet they are not right. So today we are discussing success in a man. We're basically discussing success and masculinity. I'll start with Dr. Keith. Defines a successful man.
You know, even you just pick a random boy from these teenage years. These young boys, these young men already have a goal. They have a goal. They have something they are looking to. Okay, they have a plan. They have something they are intentional about. So one is a successful man is one who has already found that purpose. Okay, the first thing is, have you found purpose? Do you have a plan? Do you have a resolve? Look at those young boys. S4, S5 and above.
At such an age, what do you mean when you say purpose?
They already know what they want in life. They already know how they want that, who they want to be the moment they are independent of certain supports, you know? Because we get out of support from our home, emotional, financial, spiritual, physical nourishment, etc., when you're still under your parents' home. But by the time that Kaga is in S4, parents, you're sitting there and you're looking at your son, he's sitting with you or he's at school. That young man has already, some of them at that age have actually found their purpose.
Isn't senior four so young? Aren't a senior four student's opinion shaped by illusions?
Not really. The illusions just come they are part of, they just sweeten it, give it a certain fantasy, but deep down the common thread is there, they already know. And now, what happens is, along the years, as this young man matures, he now starts putting in place several things that are going to create a life that can actually fulfill that purpose. So a successful man is one already has a plan, and then two, goes on to create a certain environment, a certain life, a certain environment within which his purpose is going to be grown. Okay? And most times, by the time we marry, we already have a certain idea, okay, of how we want whatever we had thought about to fall into place.
So it's not basically what you're dreaming to have, but what you're dreaming to become.
What you're dreaming to become. The value, that value person you want to become, the value you want in your life. By the time you settle down and start doing the check boxes and you're like, did I actually achieve this?
Because a senior four student could say, I want to buy a car at the time I'm 30. You're saying that is wrong, because definitely by 30, because of your work environment, you definitely have a car by the age of 30, or be nearing to having a car.
That is even that's why I said some of these young men have very strong resolves. some of them will already tell you the things they want to be part of. If you talk to these young senior 4s, senior 5s, if you've gone to schools, he'll tell you that by the time I'm 30, I should have been part of this. I should have helped this part of, in the NGO world, I should have contributed to something. I should have a family that is stable, strong, loving, etc. I should have initiated this. I should have started certain business. I should have the investment of this point. I should be healthy at this point. I should be. It's such a holistic view of his purpose.
Yes, Livingston.
Yes, sir.
Do you think, according to him, that's a reflection of our society, given the fact that in Uganda, basically even Africa at large, you're 30, you're not yet defined yourself. You're simply grappling with life. What do you add on who a definition of a man's success should be?
Yeah, thank you so much. One of the most important, like very cardinal thing for man to do is to discover their purpose on earth. Let me tell you, a man without purpose, they can't do well across. Whether it's family, whether it's work, whether it's whatever it is. So after you have found yourself, okay, and you've created a life that you feel will actually fulfill your purpose, it is also important to seek a balance between your purpose or running after your purpose, but also sacrificing yourself and others for that purpose. Very important. I'll give you an example. Okay, this requires to be calculative because if I'm going to go in a war-torn area to make sure I achieve my purpose, then I am not minding about myself. So you might end up dying there, for instance. You see that, yes. So there are things that we've done and we've sacrificed ourselves and the people around us. You see that? For example, if you want to save so much money, and your children are going without food because you want to go out of a rental and build a house. Building a house is good, okay? Maybe that is what you want to achieve as a person or as a man, because any man should ideally have built up a house. Well, you might not have one now, but you need to be moving towards constructing a house as a man. Back in the days, what defined a man was having your personal home. You see that? But you see, I'm not going to save us so much money and then fail to provide at home, tell them you eat once a day because I'm trying to achieve this.
What does Christianity tell us about success?
But even before, you go there, Genda Mucharo, there are kids who are not going to school.
Right.
But by a certain age, those kids have already defined their purpose. I'm talking about kids who are deep in the villages. Deep. You know, he's reached a point where they are not going to pay for him any more school fees. But
and they can actually pay for themselves.
Yes, but by a certain point, that young man already knows who he's going to become.
Do you want to say amazing wealth in terms of possession and materials does not qualify as a parameter?
No, because these people, what do they? Well, I mean, if you compare such a young gentleman deep in the village to one here in the Kampala who already is riding a boda, has a chapati store. If you compare that group, these guys here in Kampala will have more. Okay, he will probably have an income.
Right.
He has his boda, he's paying for a loan. He's already staying in a certain place. He has a few things here. Deep in the village, this young boy is so content with where he is. He has a piece of land, he has already planning, and I'm going to put this mwanyi. I'm going to dig and do this to this acre of Irish potatoes. Season enomba zengenda kukola zino. And his goal towards the future is one day I'll be a very serious exporter.
So it's basically about having consistency with your focus.
With your focus. The moment you have honed into your purpose and you focus on it,
and holding on to the very end.
Reminds me of a man who has an askari at a mall. Askari at a mall. And this man, in askari, is their paycheck is about 130,
50,000,
150.
Yeah.
He pays them. He knows that very well. And what this man used to do, every time he has his paycheck, he would take part of the salary and increase on his land in the village. So back in the village, he was a king because he owned more land.
Right.
He owned more land in the village, and he was an opinion leader in the village. He was very respected. So per the standard of the village, he was the most successful. When it came back to Kampala, one would say he's the most unsuccessful.
No, I know a guy who was telling me that their driver does not rent. He has like a small car house somewhere around in Natete deep there. I think that's where he grew up from, etc. He has his car house, he doesn't rent. But this guy rents here. He's renting.
The guy he drives.
The guy he drives is in renting. A big double-storied huge house. He's renting.
Where he pays about 1.5.
1.5 and above. But their driver even invited them to his home for lunch. And they reached there and it is his car house. He does not pay. He owns the property. He owns that house.
You can imagine.
Can you imagine? Now, for him, the measure of success was just a driver. I pay him how much? 150 per month. You know, he's always up and about, survives this. When he reached there, he realized that, my dear, the way he had been measuring success, this driver
it was very different.
Is way, has already
ahead
moved
of
ahead
him.
of him. Because the guy is in his Kakomira.
Great. Now, what I'm thinking, as you said, it is basically measured by your focus.
Your focus, yes.
Focus.
Holding on to your focus.
Focus.
Yes.
The moment you can
also
achieve those things, you're
but
successful.
also a life of impact.
Okay. Now,
Impact.
after the break, thank you, viewers. It's getting more interesting here and hotty. Right after the break, we're going to discuss the other parameters that are shaped by modernity, that are shaped by society, to give us who a successful man is. Thank you so much.
And who is
after
not.
the break.
The Higher Life, the era of the world revolution, with Apostle Dr. David Kunowa and Pastor Rita Bella Kunowa of Rivers of Life Assembly International, Boston, Massachusetts, USA. Streaming every Tuesday from 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. East African Standard Time, with the incorruptible, incomparable, and revolutionizing life-transforming Word of God. Only on Bethany TV. For Health.
Child health and well-being, the foundation for a bright and promising future. Join us for exciting episodes aimed at optimizing our children's physical, mental, and emotional health with our team of experts, including pediatricians, nutritionists, and child psychologists, every Wednesday at 8 p.m. on Bethany TV.
Bethany TV. For Health.
UNICAF is offering $1 million worth of scholarships for you to study online at one of the leading providers of online quality higher education in Africa. Earn a British bachelor's or master's degree from one of UNICAF's partner universities, the University of East London, voted one of the best modern universities in the UK. Liverpool John Moores University, the fourth best university in the UK, according to the UniCompare Top 100 Universities rankings. The University of Suffolk, proudly boasting a 90% graduate employability rate. Apply now. Join over 60,000 students from 170 countries around the world looking to improve their lives and careers. For more information, please contact us on our WhatsApp at 771 976 750.
Attention everyone, the Ministry of Health has planned to vaccinate all persons aged 1 year to 60 years old to protect them against yellow fever disease. The mass vaccination will take place in 53 districts in these regions: Kampala, Buganda, Teso, Ankole and Karamoja. Vaccination is free and available at all government health facilities and outreach posts in these regions. The vaccination campaign will take place from April 2nd to April 8th, 2024. The vaccine is safe, effective and free of charge and has been approved by World Health Organization and Ministry of Health. This message is from Ministry of Health with support from Gavi.
Bethany TV. For Health.
You are most welcome. Welcome back from that short commercial break. We are still discussing success as defined in a man, what defines success in a man, what parameters should be considered to define success in a man, and quite others. Dr. Keith has just told us to basically define success in a man as one who is consistent with their vision and focus in life. You gave an example of the guy renting a big apartment and the driver that has a house. Yes, and apparently they can both be successful. Depends on how you attach to your target in life. Because even the one renting could be targeting something very important in their life. Yes, something else when a building is not part of it at that moment. Yes, could be presidential aspirants or others. Yes. So, Livingstone, you're concluding. But before, I want to ask, what then is not success in a man that today people think is success in a man?
What is not success in a man? Number one, success is not the wealth you amass. Yes, that you accumulate and then you have 4 cars, you have, 5 buildings, and you see you're running after all this, which is okay. It's good to have a lot of property around and amass a lot of wealth. But you see, that does not define you as successful. Very important, yes. But also it is not, we have this power that we assume as men in the house. And everyone thinks, I am the man, I am very successful. Everyone bows before me. Everyone listens to me. They can't have dinner before I come back. You see that? They can't do this without me. As in, that is not being a successful man.
And yet to some it could be successful. He could be a successful man.
So I really don't think so. It is wrong. It doesn't actually define you as a successful man.
Dr. Keith, do you have peculiar measures for success in a man?
Yeah, we do. But before that, I just want to say that what he said is true. And all these little things should not be looked at independently as measures of success.
It's a concoction.
Yes, success is a journey.
That you travel.
It's holistic. All these little things he's talked about contribute. But unfortunately, some of our wives, potential partners, some of our own communities.
Unlock that.
They look at that one little tiny, theme as a successful man. You're rich, you're successful. You have power, you're successful. You've achieved something.
You're successful.
When the destination disease arrived.
That's basically a painting, a beautiful painting on your life.
Yeah, but you see, friends.
So just a minute. So these things are important. They are part of success. But the moment that somebody holds only that one thing to measure you, to measure your success, that is wrong. And unfortunately, men, we have been put in that position in life that we think one of those things, defines success. You ask, is that guy successful? Yes. How do you know? Guy has a house. How do you know he's successful? He has achieved this. That guy is now an MP. No, for example, power is temporary. It's short term. When you're not an MP, then what? You're not successful anymore? No. So these things have to be put together to then come up, and then you can easily measure a successful man. But unfortunately, and it's wrong when you only look at those little aspects. He's rich, he has power, maybe he's achieved. And that is all, just that one thing.
But,
so I'm imploring
but you said it's quite a number of
yes, I'm imploring our sisters, look at it from a bigger picture. Don't just only look at it from a point of view of wealth or property or power or certain feelings. Other people,
unfortunately, they're definitive measures.
They're definitive.
They're definitive measures. Yes. They are parameters.
They are parameters, but you see, there's also what a society has perceived about being a successful person. And we might not, trample over it. We might need to also put it out there for people to know.
I think it's an important aspect to put out there.
Exactly. What does society know about a successful person? Because back in the days, our parents had huge chunks of land, and people would think that man is quite successful.
Not even
Or
thinking that man was successful.
Big herds of cattle, and that man was very, very successful. You see that? So I love where Keith is coming from, but you see, when you think about it, yes, there is a broader picture of it, but we need to look at the critical areas that would be a good representation of a successful man. Maybe we could look at what should people look out for in a success.
And you know,
Okay,
in the African traditional sense, actually success was properly defined. Things changed eventually. Because remember, you'd have a lot of things, but if you don't have a wife or a child, you are still not considered as...
Yeah, it's what I'm thinking.
You see,
I mean, the parameters have changed over time.
Yes,
They've evolved.
They've evolved.
Yes, and they'll keep evolving.
And they're going to keep exactly
as the world changes.
And what now we are going to, unfortunately, the things have evolved and have worked against us. And now what we are trying to do, and the movement, the whole men movement, is trying to bring back that total, that holistic view of, you cannot measure me just based off a few things. I am a person. I'm a holistic person. I have so much I bring to the table. I have a purpose. I have something I've focused on for so many years before I reached where I am right now. And that is ideally what you should be measuring. What? It should
based
be
on to measure.
based on to measure.
Maybe that means a lot to you, but it doesn't mean a lot to any other person.
Society, yes.
So for me, you think again. Now it brings us to...
Or even I'll ask, is success about you, the individual, or it also goes beyond you, the individual, to what you do to society or even other people?
Very important. It also looks at society. But what I'm trying to put across is that much as there is what society can look out for, okay, but what brings contentment to me as a person? Because probably what brings contentment to me as a person does not to society, does not to the people around me. And I'm not going to impose it on them to accept me as a successful man.
Okay, Stone, your microphone has some issues. I think pick it up from Livingstone.
So you see,
I am thinking...
what he had said earlier was balance. There has to be a balance in all these things. So there has to be a balance with money. There has to be a balance with health, your physical well-being. There has to be a balance with your own family. How much you put into you. Are you a good father? Are you a good brother? Are you a good husband? Are you a good sibling? There has to be things to do with also service, helping the
society?
community.
Yes,
that's what I'm talking about. Helping that volunteer. You do not expect anything back from what you're putting into the community. Like, I mean, remember the Bible, how Boaz would tell people, do not touch the things in the corners, let the rest of the community pick from there.
Right.
You know, I saw a documentary of a certain South African who was a huge, he's a commercial farmer. But whatever drops from the trucks, the community is allowed to pick for free. You know? So it is to self, it is to family, it is to community. And what you said was
self
balance.
to mean, for example, emotional intelligence.
Your own self. So for example, one, physical, are you healthy? Your own well-being physically, your own well-being emotionally, your own well-being spiritually.
Right.
Okay?
Very
and
important.
Are you content with who you have become?
And what you have.
And what you have. Are you happy?
Right.
Are you happy? Are you happy? That's very important with what you have. Everybody else will say, you guys, you're fake. You've not yet made it. But for you, are you happy? Are you happy? There are people deep in the rural areas who are very happy with where they are.
Regardless.
Compared to, there are people right now who have billions of shillings, but are extremely unhappy.
Depressed.
They are not content. They are not happy with where they
Someone
are.
is breaking with work. They have failed to have a work-life balance.
But the guy deep in the village is very, very content with who he has become. He has a family. He has his children. The things he does that for us we perceive as lousy and little, and he is content. So that person is very happy and content with self. Is the family happy? There are wives, there are women who are very, very happy with who their husbands have become. They might not have much compared to what the society is gauging. But that woman says, this guy is my life, is my everything, I'm happy where we are. Somebody was telling me about a border guy who has a better life than him. This is a guy who has rentals, he has businesses, but the border guy who helps them do their courier. When he sits down and converses with him, that guy's life is 100 times better than his.
He's more happier.
He's happier.
He's content.
He's happy. His children are going to school. His wife is peaceful. At home, this one, the rich guy, is very unhappy. Everything is haywire. He's been totally isolated from his own things. So you know, to your family and also to the community.
Then how do you break, Livingston, how do you break the societal stereotypes of especially our wives, or even our parents, by the way? There is what your parent...
They have their expectations.
Your parent has a particular expectations of what should define you as a successful man. They're expecting a few things out of you for them to accept that now you're successful to this level. Yes. So how then do we break that societal stereotype with what we actually have learned over time, that success is basically my how content I am and how I'm going about life, focus on the future, my targets in life, and my next projects?
You know, many times we respond to the pressure outside, and that bothers us a lot. You see that? For me, I would think that we would pay more attention to what is on our inside, what brings about the satisfaction.
So how
the
do we break that?
contentment
How do we break that stereotype?
that you need. I'm coming. Because if I'm going to focus on what is around me and the people around me, because much as I want to be a successful man, okay? And of course, there is sacrificing myself, but also there is sacrificing other people. You could sacrifice your family, you could sacrifice the rest of the other people around you, but also yourself. We need to be mindful as men that people or the environment around us is not going to dictate what success should be to us as men, but what brings contentment and what gets me to that, what we call self-actualization, that makes me happy, that makes me content, you get, and I have a life of impact out there. So how do we break it? How do we break it? Number one, I think we need to cut off the pressure from out. Very important. Because being a successful man, even from our wives, because it varies from one person to another. You see that? For me, I think your wife should be very happy with the journey you've
cut
moved.
off your wife's opinion about you?
No, well, I don't know your wife's opinion about where you are now. You see that? But maybe she's thinking that Chula should have been a pilot, or Chula should have bought a plane for me.
Chula has not paid rent the last 2 months.
Exactly.
And that is defining him as someone who is failing.
No, you're not. You're not a failure because you've not paid rent. That is the problem. You know, when we zero down on the little things we can't do, you see that? Because there is what I can do and there is what you can do. But also we need to also look at the pressures around us. Yes, financial pressures, you know, a few things that are not within our control.
You see,
very important.
I am thinking...
so cut off the world, cut off the people out there, and then do something that is going to bring contentment to yourself.
You see, there's something I'm thinking about, what Keith has shared. I think the moment you balance all the other parameters, all the other measures, all these other things fall in line, including fulfilling societal expectations. It's what I'm thinking.
Can I tell you something?
That if you take care of your spiritual life, your mental life, your physical life, and then your work-life balance, talk about your focus in life, consistency. Right. I think these are things, there's a way they fall in line. It may not be perfect, as perfectly as someone would desire, but somehow I think they would.
Before we leave that point, I know we're going somewhere else, but I wanted to say that you said, how do we change?
Change our wives?
How do we change the whole society?
Expectations.
Because I was not agreeing with Livingston.
We start with our sons.
Distancing.
Let's start with these young boys. Number one, we need to teach them to show community that what they are also doing is okay. Because you see, parents, society has determined that this is who you're going to become.
Right.
But these kids want to become somebody else. Okay? And they are very focused on that. We need to strengthen their resolve. We need to strengthen their purpose. If that's what it is, we teach them how to stand for what they believe is right within.
Or better still, tell them it is a process.
It's a
So
process. Number 2, teach these young boys that failure is an opportunity to grow. It's okay to fail. It's okay to fail. Because you see, if you don't use those opportunities to have that mindset of growth, you will never achieve your purpose. Because every time you fail or you're discouraged
That's
or your
true.
parents have cut you down or people have said that doesn't work, that profession doesn't have job market, blah, blah, blah. Oh my gosh, you start backing off and you miss.
Yeah.
You become a doctor, yet you wanted to become a lawyer. You become a lawyer, yet you want to become a teacher. You will never ever fulfill that deep purpose you
deep
want.
in
That's
the
why you
life.
find, I know doctors who have left the profession and have become what they wanted. Some
No,
have become
We have
exactly.
many of
There's a
them in
doctor I
our-
want to
And they are
tell you
happy.
about. Yes, the guy is a doctor, but he's down in Chiembe working on curtains.
very
And
fulfilled.
he's well made up. He has
Yes.
all that he wants.
A medical doctor.
A medical doctor.
You see,
yes.
so
Who is in the-
teaching
on a
5 years.
sewing machine.
So
6
exactly.
years.
So teaching
And is
our-
content.
Very content,
so
very
teaching
happy,
our
very
young
loaded.
boys in whatever platforms, whatever
Yeah.
forums we get.
So
is
it's
it school
very
meetings,
important.
Is it in our
That is
homes?
for the next generation.
Yes. Next
Our
generation.
wives.
Now, our wives, you see now, this generation
one.
is broken in terms of this topic, okay?
Right.
Livingston says distance. It's
Eh,
something
we
I'm not
would
agreeing
want-
with.
What I
I'm
would
not saying
encourage
you
is this,
distance.
is you see, we want to help the
I
more
like that.
communication, okay? Let your wife understand what your
Your-
purpose
your
is.
purpose.
Even when sometimes it looks like it is totally
Right.
going against what the... First of all,
What she thinks,
do
yes.
you guys have a family belief? Do you have family values? Do you have goals? They used to talk about these things.
The
As a
vision,
family, do you have a vision?
the
People
mission
used to laugh at those
statements.
things.
But
this,
why
is,
important?
this is where it starts. If
Yep.
you don't have it as a family...
Do you have where you're going?
Yes, sit down and
As a family.
redefine it. That is the best way you can bring your wife to appreciate the successes that you're bringing. But if you guys have never discussed past, let's build together the children's school fees, yaka, rent. If you've never discussed past that, this is your opportunity. Sit down and have a family vision, goals, what your objectives are as a family, define all those things, realign them to your finances, realign them to your life goals, and it is
And
easy.
that is the whole holistic approach to
It's
success.
a whole holistic approach. It's easy now for your wife to sit down and measure against what you both have agreed on.
And she can measure and tell my wife,
Right.
my husband is successful,
Right.
even when there is no coin
Very
on a
important.
bank
Even when
account.
everybody is laughing at him,
Even when
among
yes.
the family
Yeah.
groups and WhatsApps, it's
Exactly.
like,
The wife
according to our goals and
Yes.
visions and what?
That is where
Omusajja
we are
akyali
headed.
ku mulamwa, yes, akyali ku pointi. He has not veered off.
By the moment she's taken up by society and what they are saying, trust me, she's also going to break you down.
They need
Livingston, to our parents, in a minute.
To our parents, number one, to our parents, you know, parents have invested in us a lot of money and they have a lot of expectations. So I can understand where they're coming from. Why? Because they have these societal expectations of us. Number one, once you've left your parents, okay, you're now with your wife, you are a man, you have a family.
In half a minute.
You see that? Just make sure that you because what parents need is for us to find a way of supporting them, for them to understand that we are successful. Find a way of identifying with them, but then limit their interference in your affairs in a way. Because once they start interfering, why you're not building, what is happening, you don't have children, you get it.
Thank you.
It is going to depress and stress you.
Thank you,
So
Livingston.
these are your affairs. If they need something, do it for them. But
Thank you.
make sure you walk your journey as a man.
Thank you. I am thinking also, as we conclude, with parents, something is said about our partners in our house. I think when it also comes to our parents, we should have a deliberate point of communication with them about our targets in
goals and
life,
plans, yeah.
our goals and plans. So that someone is not measuring you on which neighbor, which boyhood neighbor bought a car and you do not have a car yet, or which boyhood neighbor is building a house and you haven't yet built. Yes, I think when they hear about the stories of your intention, and then they realize your intention about your life, I think that one takes away the
Communication.
the pressures.
Yeah.
Yes, so communication is as important from a spouses, I think to our parents, and also society, and quite a number of other things.
But I think that happens to men who never leave. You've left, gotten married, but you've not left home.
Thank you.
So there's still this interference from you.
Thank you,
No,
viewers.
why would you really go back?
You'll join us. There are numbers that are flashed on your screens. You join us for further discussions, about this particular topic. It's quite an interesting one. Very many men out there are grappling with this issue. How to go about defining success in a man, what your wife think about you when it comes to successful measures of success rather, what your parents think. Some parents are on pressure. I've heard of parents that keep putting their children on pressure. Should I send you some money? Should I please come for some food and things like that? So I think even communicating your intents in life to your parents and partners is very, very important. It will take away the pressures from your parents. Remember that your parents, they educated you. So they are right to have those pressures on them because they want to see you successful or they want to hear you triggering the buttons of success. From us to you, we are very delighted that you've been a part of this show. And next Monday, we are having another exciting topic, still about men, marriage, children, wives, and everything. And to the men out there, please give more. Try also giving out, giving the beauty allowances, the labor allowances. You'll enjoy. You'll see the impact. It's quite a great one. So from us to you, have a nice week ahead of you and a blessed tomorrow. Thank you.